tension and high drama, a runaway train loaded with fuel and other flammables headed for Columbus.
They was expecting somebody in there with a heart attack or whatever, and it was empty.
But a hero saves the day. 10 TV Eyewitness News at 6 starts now.
From WBNS 10 TV, Central Ohio's most watched news station, this is 10 TV Eyewitness News.
And that train would have kept rolling if it weren't for a worker who risked his life to get on board. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Kaler.
And I'm Angela Pace. Now, these are the pictures that you will not soon forget. The train carrying hazardous materials rolled for 71 miles from Toledo to Kenton until a man climbed inside. Now, 10 TV's Jerry Revish first brought you this story as it was happening and begins our team coverage. Jerry?
Well, it was on a runaway course to disaster with nobody at the controls, and for almost an hour, the only thing anybody could do was watch.
A 47-car train loaded with freight plus flammable and hazardous material rolling on a runaway route south. Deputies, highway patrolmen, and railroad workers stood helpless along the tracks as CSX locomotive 8888 lumbered along at speeds of up to 46 miles an hour. The train had been sitting on tracks at the Walbridge yards south of Toledo when it mysteriously started moving. There was speculation an engineer suffered a heart attack and couldn't stop the train. But as it turned out, there was no one on board. The engine cab was empty. It rolled through farm country and small towns, through Lucas, Wood, Hancock, and Hardin counties, through downtown Bowling Green and near Bowling Green University. At one point, another locomotive pulled up behind to grab onto the runaway train and drag it to a stop. It didn't work. Along the miles that followed, rail workers ran alongside trying to jump on board. They couldn't get to it. Then, south of Kenton, a railman was able to pull himself on board and run inside to get to the controls and finally bring the drama to an end without anyone getting hurt.
That train traveled roughly 66 miles, and 31-year-old railroad employee John Hosfeld jumped onto the train when it slowed to about 10 miles an hour. You saw him there. CSX says a conductor's oversight sent that train on its runaway journey. The Ohio Emergency Management Agency says conductors were switching trains when this one somehow got away. Jerry Revish, 10 TV Eyewitness News.
All right, Jerry. Several people had attempted to board that train with the hopes of stopping it. The Ohio Highway Patrol had a plan in the works, too. And 10 TV Eyewitness News reporter Penny Moore is live in Kenton with that part of our team coverage. Some incredible stuff here, Penny.
It was, Dave. I want to show you first. This is the exact spot where the train was finally brought to a halt. And at about 4:30 this afternoon, they hooked everything back up and sent the train on its way. And this time, there was actually a conductor on board. And tonight, there are some highway patrol officers who hope they will never again be tested by such a strange phenomenon. This train barreled down 66 miles of track with no one at the controls. How many crossings would you say this train traveled through, unattended, unengineered?
There was probably well over 100 crossings that that's minimal.
Obviously, someone had to do something. When attempts by other train masters to jump on failed, the Highway Patrol was called in for some target practice.
And obviously, this train does have some hazardous material and flammable material on it, and we were trying to disable it by firing shotgun rounds at a fuel safety switch. And so some rounds were fired.
That safety switch is a mighty small target, and it's right next to a fuel tank.
That was the only alternative they could think of other than derailing the train.
The rifle rounds missed, and eventually it did take an old-fashioned train jumping to get the thing stopped. Now, in addition to the hero who jumped that train, a lot of heroes all throughout the northern part of the state tonight. Deputy sheriffs, highway patrol officers, CSX employees who actually manned all of those railroad crossings where this train was running through unattended. There could have been a lot of people hurt. Fortunately, there is a happy ending tonight. And now let's go to where it all began, up near Toledo, with 10 TV Eyewitness News reporter Angela Ann. Angela?
Penny, behind me is Walbridge Yard, just outside of Toledo, and this is where that train got away, so to speak. We were actually already up here covering a different story about trains. There was a 150-passenger train for Operation Lifesaver. Ironically, it was a media tour to raise awareness about rail safety. It started in Columbus this morning at 8 o'clock. We got to Toledo around noon, and when we started to head back, we found out about this runaway train that was in front of us on the same track. Now, some people weren't too worried, but others weren't sure what to think.
It might be heading to our town next, and our high school is really close to the train tracks.
I'm not really worried, but quite surprised that something like this could even happen.
Kind of ironic that we're on a train about rail
Safety, right, and then this happened.
Yeah.
I told my husband, I don't know if I want to ride a train again or not.
Of course, you're joking, right?
Oh, yes.
Now, after 2 hours of sitting in Walbridge Yard, buses finally arrived to help transport people back home. I just spoke with somebody from CSX Transportation, the railway company, and they say obviously this investigation will continue through the night and most likely into tomorrow to figure out exactly what went wrong on that train. We are also told that that train should be heading back up here to Walbridge Yard where it belongs. Reporting live just outside of Toledo, Angela Ann, 10 TV Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Angela. And of course, we will continue our coverage of this story tonight at 11. And don't forget, tonight at 9, 60 Minutes 2 will have a special report, Tracking Problems. America's rails are carrying more trains than ever before, but just how safe are those rails? Watch 60 Minutes 2 tonight at 9 right here on 10 TV. In other news tonight, he came within 65 minutes of dying for his crimes. Tonight, J.D. Scott is again just hours away from lethal injection. The only thing that could stop it now is a pending appeal in Cincinnati. Moments ago, 10 TV Eyewitness News spoke with Scott's son, Antoine Taylor.
Well, I would like them to know that people make mistakes, and an event or a couple of events don't describe a person's whole life. You know, all you know is what you see on the media. I know him personally, and I don't know that type of person that the media has displayed him to be. He's not a horrible man. He's not an animal. He's not a modern-day Jesse James. He's somebody's father. He's a human being.
10 TV Eyewitness News reporter Eve Mueller has more in Lucasville.
Governor Bob Taft has said he will not stop Scott's execution scheduled for less than 3 hours from now. Scott has told prison staffers here he's at peace with himself and with God. J.D. Scott waits in a cell just 17 steps from where he'll take his last breath on this injection table. 15 people will be watching from behind this glass, including 3 of Scott's family members and 5 media witnesses.
It'll be interesting for me to see how I react. I don't think it's going to take any kind of emotional toll, but I really don't know.
Paul Kostju works for Copley Newspapers, a chain in Northeast Ohio. He's covered executions from the outside of prisons. He's never witnessed one from the inside.
I'm pleased that I'm doing it in the sense that it's an opportunity. I'm actually telling people that I'm more nervous about being interviewed by the press than I am witnessing the execution.
Cleveland TV reporter Paul Orlowski will also witness Scott's death sentence being carried out and have to report about it for his station.
I've covered so many victims that I find it hard to be sympathetic at this particular point. I don't know whether that will change. My fear is, what if I come out of there and I really regret doing it?
When Scott was supposed to die April 17th, Paul found out just the day before he was picked to witness it. He says he's not sure he was ready then, but he's now had some time for it to sink in.
Because if I wanted to back out, I probably could have. But I think I'm more resolved now and more comfortable.
We've just been told J.D. Scott will give a final statement. That happens just moments before a lethal combination of 3 drugs will be shot into his arm at 9 o'clock tonight. In Lucasville, Eve Mueller, 10 TV Eyewitness News.
All right, Eve, thanks a lot. You know, with tonight's scheduled execution and the Timothy McVeigh case, the issue of capital punishment has never been more in the forefront in recent years. In Ohio, 200 other inmates are on death row tonight, and the next prisoner scheduled for execution is John Byrd, Jr. He killed a Cincinnati convenience store clerk back in 1983. Byrd has run out of appeals. His execution is set for September the 12th. Byrd's sister made that trip to Bexley this week to protest the death penalty outside of the governor's mansion.
1994, they brought my brother to the death house. Johnny escaped the electric chair by 28 minutes, and he still had 4 appeals left.
Now the next Central Ohio inmate to be executed could be convicted murderer and rapist Kevin Scudder. He's volunteered to die, but he is undergoing psychological testing to determine whether he is competent. Scudder killed a Columbus girl back in 1989. Angela?
Well, tonight we are keeping our eye on some storms that are headed this way. Doppler 10 Chief Meteorologist Mike Davis has an update for us. Mike?
Yes, severe thunderstorm watch in effect till 8 o'clock for western Ohio. Look at live dual Doppler 10. We got a couple of severe storms already. One here in Van Wert. The warning goes until 6:30. Another one here for Darke County. That one goes until 6:45. And guess what? They're moving this way. Your Doppler 10 forecast coming up.
Also tonight, a report is out on a failed Columbus charter school. Find out where the money that was supposed to be in paychecks actually went.
Plus, a former Ohio State football coach is ready to go back into the game. And it's supposed to be the world's first one-handed automatic hammer. But will it keep your fingers from getting smashed? Consumer 10 has Jim Donovan buy it and try it when we come back.
You're watching 10 TV Eyewitness News with Dave Kaler, Angela Pace, Doppler 10 meteorologist Mike Davis, and Jeff Hogan Sports. This is WBNS 10 TV.
Topping headlines tonight, a failed Columbus charter school misspent hundreds of thousands of dollars and is almost $2 million in debt. That's according to a state audit released today. The High Life Youth Community School on the north side stopped classes at the end of November. The state audit shows money withheld from employee paychecks was used for operating expenses instead of paying city, state, and federal taxes. School leaders are trying to figure out just how to pay that money back. They're working on a payment plan with the IRS.
Also making headlines tonight, the Federal Reserve makes another attempt to help boost the economy. The Fed's cut interest rates by a half point today. This is the 5th rate cut this year. The stock markets didn't get too excited about the rate cut. The Dow closed down 4 points to end the day at 10,872.
Well, it looks like we will be getting another night of storms, and here's a live look outside our Skyview camera, 800 feet up in the air. We'll have the very latest on the nasty weather headed our way in just a few minutes.
I'm Jim Donovan. You've seen it advertised on TV, but would the auto hammer be a welcome addition to your tool chest? Coming up, Consumer 10 tries it out.
Well, if you have ever used a hammer, it's probably happened to you. Instead of hitting the nail, bam, you smash your fingers instead.
And that hurts, but there is a product that claims to make that a thing of the past. We let Jim Donovan buy it and try it. Joining us now is Consumer 10 reporter Jim Donovan. Jim, all in one piece there?
Yes, Angela. It claims to be the world's first one-handed automatic hammer. Now, you've seen it advertised on TV, but we wondered how well would it work in a Consumer 10 product showdown.
They come in every size and style, but all hammers are not alike. The Auto Hammer claims to make all your hammering projects faster, easier, and safer. The packaging says you just drop the nails into the handle, press the button to release, and hammer away. So at high noon, we headed to the Home Depot to see which was the fastest hammer in the Midwest. Steve Darty, the Depot kid, wrestled up a regular hammer. I came armed with the Auto Hammer. No 6 shooters for this showdown, just our trusty hammers and 6 nails to see which could bury the competition faster.
Draw, hombre.
Faster than you can say, "Okay, corral," I noticed a problem.
They pop out, but they don't stick.
The Auto Hammer released the nails, but they wouldn't stick into the wood.
Ugh.
While the Depot kid was moving faster than a runaway stagecoach, I was left shaking the Auto Hammer just trying to get a nail out. Within 25 seconds, the Depot kid was finished, and the Auto Hammer was being left in the dust, stopping to reload the same nails time and time again.
Reload one more time. We'll give you 18 shots. Whoops.
So much for easy use.
You were fumbling with nails.
And the nails that I wasn't fumbling with were flying off the hammer.
Well, that one sure got away from you, cowboy.
When I hit the hammer too hard, most times I missed my mark. If I hit it too lightly, the nail wouldn't stay put. Not exactly what I'd call easy one-handed operation.
You may qualify for the slowest hammer in the West.
And 3 minutes and 10 seconds later, it was clear the auto hammer didn't do a slam-up job.
I think they need to go back to the drawing board.
So much for the hope of being the fastest hammer in the Midwest.
They'd be burying you in Boot Hill for sure.
I purchased the auto hammer for $19.95 plus $6.95 shipping and handling. The price varies on whether you buy it on an infomercial or one of those TV internet sites. But no matter how much they're selling it for, take my advice and save your money. The auto hammer doesn't do a bang-up job.
Okay, now why did you have to keep reloading it? Doesn't it hold more than like 3 or 4 nails?
It holds 20 nails, but remember, we each had 6 to start off with, and the whole purpose, I'm not supposed to touch the nail, so I had to reload each time.
All right.
See, we play fair, and unfortunately, it didn't work.
And you nailed your own little coffin.
I know, wasn't that sad?
That's almost as bad as the picture frame.
It is, and thanks to the folks at Home Depot for helping us out.
All right, that was interesting. Thank you, Jim.
Another night of spring storms on the way to Central Ohio, and Chief Meteorologist Mike Davis is in the Doppler 10 Weather Center with an update. Michael?
Guess you're asking, Dave, if we'll get nailed here tonight, huh? Well, we do have some showers, a few thunderstorms around on live dual Doppler 10. In fact, a severe thunderstorm watch off to our west. Now, several counties already under warnings. Van Wert right here going into Mercer and Darke counties. Now, both of these, notice the storms have kind of pushed back out of there, so we'll come in a little bit closer on the western part of the state, and you'll see how it's moved into Miami County, out by Piqua and Troy, the strongest of the storms. No warning for there just yet. The warnings for those counties just to the west of there is up until 6:45, but these are pretty good rain producers. May have a little bit of hail in there as well, and a possibility of some gusty winds and also some damaging rain and lightning in there. So this is moving to the east about 20 miles an hour. Cell here in Champaign County just to the west of Urbana, and lighter stuff as you get down into Clark County and Greene County. But again, that's just the leading edge of the moisture that's going to move in here later on tonight, so we have to keep a very close eye on that. Off to our northeast, nothing severe either, but plenty of showers and thunder showers blanketing this area for the last hour or so. From southern Richland County all the way through Ashland County, over toward Millersburg, and finally down into Coshocton County. A couple of good cells in and around Coshocton. Also good rain producers, maybe a little bit of hail, possibly some gusty winds. Not severe at this point, but that will be the trend tonight. So one line moving off to the east right here. You see quite a few of these are drifting down to the southeast, and more coming in from the west. This is the area that's under the gun with that severe thunderstorm watch for later on tonight. Show you where that is. Everything to the south and west of us pretty much tonight. From Madison County and Ross County going down to the south and west. So Greene, Champaign, Clark, all of you under that severe thunderstorm watch until 8 o'clock tonight. This area is under the gun from some strong storms that developed late afternoon in Indiana, moving into the state as we speak and gradually pushing our way. We're in and around the watch area. Keep in mind that the thunderstorms can be severe outside of the watch box as well. Here's the radar picture from this afternoon, and it quieted down only to flare up again late. And again, it's this band right here that has the best potential for severe weather, although this is nothing all that small either, coming into the northeastern part of the state and gradually moving along the frontal boundary down toward the southeast, a little bit shifted to the east from where we were earlier on today. 70 degrees, mostly cloudy right now, 66 and cloudy as of 11 o'clock, over a half-inch of rain earlier today. We'll break it down hour by hour using our Doppler 10 future track model, and you see that overnight that same band continues in the central part of the state. This is 2 a.m., nothing severe, but plenty of rain out there. Then it quiets down a little bit. In the morning it flares up to the east of us, and then in the afternoon it starts to blossom again. This is 2 o'clock, but toward evening it gets more earnest, so by this time tomorrow night, probably another round of showers and thunder showers. Talking about 58 in the morning on Future Track, 76 in the afternoon. So another fairly warm day in the air, fairly steamy. 73 Cleveland, 76 in Columbus, but 85 down at Cincinnati. And here's your Doppler 10 5-day forecast. We edge later on in the week. Thursday, good-looking day, 80 and partly cloudy. That's the warm one this week. Chance for a shower on Friday, and then brightening up and cooling off a little bit Saturday, bouncing back on Sunday with highs in the upper 70s.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Well, there is big news. There is big news. That's what I'm saying. Big news about a former Buckeye football coach. Spit that out.
Jeff Hogan has a look. Who's this about?
I'm going to help you spit it out here. A former Ohio State coach is back in the coaching fraternity. The question is, does he remember the secret handshake? We'll explain next. When Ohio State football searches for a new coach, ties to Ohio or the program always weigh in the decision. That was the case today when former Buckeye head coach Earl Bruce got back into the coaching fraternity. The Iowa Barnstormers are a new team in a new league rivaling the Arena Football League. They've fallen flat this season, so today the team hired the retired 70-year-old Bruce to revive a 2-4 squad. Bruce has plenty of Iowa ties. Besides his Big Ten days facing the Hawkeyes, he has arena experience, and he coached at both Iowa State and the University of Northern Iowa. But why would he come off the beach in Florida?
I guess I'm here because I love the game of football. I love the game of arena football. I really love Iowa, and I love the Iowa people.
There's the answer. Jack Nicklaus is in Columbus today. This afternoon, he walked the fairways at Muirfield Village. Tournament week is 2 weeks away, but the course is in tournament condition right now. Nicklaus is the Memorial Tournament host and has made Muirfield Village his lifelong project. And tonight, he will be awarded Golf Course Architect's most prestigious honor, the Donald Ross Award.
Those guys felt enough of my work and my contributions that I made to the game, not only from golf, but for the others, to honor me with their highest award, and I'm most appreciative of that.
More from Jack tonight at 11. The Buckeye baseball team is all set to open the Big Ten tournament tomorrow at Bill Davis Stadium with a rematch against Michigan. Today's early scheduled workouts at the Bill had to be moved indoors because of rain, although things dried up enough for the Wolverines to go outside a little later. The Bucks used the Woody Hayes facility. It's the next best thing to being outside.
You can't control Mother Nature, but obviously we've got a good facility, and I know the coaches, if they had their ruthers, would like to be on the field, but we're used. You can improvise and come indoors and still get some of the stuff that you need done. You know, at this time of the year, you really want to hit and get stretched out and get loose anyway. The rest of it has already been taken care of.
More from the Bucks and their opponent tonight at 11. Cincinnati Bengals running back Corey Dillon showed up for practice today and got a big hug from head coach Dick LeBeau. Dillon worked out with the team for the first time since signing the most lucrative contract in Bengals history. He'll carry the football for 5 years and make $32 million and has a clear head with the contract squabble out of the way.
I think my whole thing is just continue to be me, work hard, and try to get this team back where it needs to be in a win column, and I'm going to do everything it takes to get me there.
A new and improved CD.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much, Jeff.
Final check on your forecast when we come back.
One more quick look at live dual Doppler 10 radar. Severe thunderstorm watch from Madison County and Ross County off to our south and west tonight. Several storms that have developed and produced severe weather in western Ohio moving to the east tonight at about 20 miles an hour. We'll keep an eye on these over in Champaign and Clark counties moving this way. Some rumblings tonight, guys, and again, really during the day tomorrow as well.
All right, Mike, thanks a lot, and thank you for joining us. The CBS Evening News with Dan Rather is next.
And we will see you tonight at 11. Have a great evening. Good night.
The little girl accidentally leaned against this power window switch. The window went up, trapping Destiny.
I laid on the horn, threw the park, rolled her window down, thinking, you know, it was just up on her. She was going to stand there. Well, she never. She fell. She fell into the back floorboard.
Destiny's larynx was crushed by the force of the power window going up. And after further investigation, we discovered that 15 other children have died after being caught in a power window. And in nearly half of them, they share a common factor. It's this rocker switch located on the armrest. If you press it down, the window goes down. But you can also press down for the window to go up.
But the long, difficult process meant to weed out all but the best may be weeding out candidates by race. 10 TV Eyewitness News reporter Kelly Hudson joins us now with her investigation into the numbers. Kelly?
Dave and Angela, we spent several months reviewing police documents and tracing the road from recruit to officer. What we found were racial disparities that left most African American candidates on the side of that road.
Last month, these police academy graduates marked the end of a long journey that started with filling out a highly scrutinized application. Once approved, they had to face 3 civil service tests, multiple choice, writing, and an oral board called the BPAD. We focused our investigation on that process.
Homeland security is now our most pressing responsibility.
We live with the threat of terror daily. High alert here means you'll see more of these. especially in these, the 3 highest risk buildings in the state. So we set out to see the state of security now in Columbus, Ohio's capital city. When 2 of our producers visited the Rhodes office tower, they found security at every entrance.
So when you got the bag there?
Here, guards followed the new rules in place since September 11th. Our bag was checked. But at the Rife Center, we weren't stopped. A security guard was on the phone. Seconds later, that guard stopped another person to check a bag.
These bridges look safe from a distance, but underneath, pictures tell a different story. 11,000 bridges in Ohio are quickly becoming unsafe and potentially deadly.
911, what's the emergency?
They help you in an emergency.
Radio to 161. 161, go ahead.
And they help officers on the street.
How many shots were fired? How many shots were heard?
But Columbus police dispatchers are also helping push the city's overtime over budget.
Radio to 98, 3113.
This woman snagged the most overtime in the communications room. Bobby Gapin is number 3 on the overall city overtime list.
I did not know.
Just 2 weeks ago, Congressman Gary Condit couldn't escape the media. Death row inmate John Byrd Jr. was begging for clemency. And Central Ohioans were flocking to a brand new store called Nordstrom. How things have changed.
We're at war. There's been an act of war declared upon America by terrorists, and we will respond accordingly.
Our priorities and attitudes have been shaken up by a brutal reality check. From a coffee shop to a quiet park, we asked a few Central Ohioans to try and take us back in time. These blocks represent their tax dollars. The cards, our budget.
The healthcare is a mess.
In so many ways, if we invested a lot more money in public health kind of initiatives, that we would be sparing or saving a lot of money down the road.
Education is very important. Don't want to forget the Social Security.
Our education system's suffering.
But now many feel the building blocks of our future should be stacked quite differently.
Yeah, I think I would have put more. I would have taken like one of those blocks and given it to defense more, I think, now. And I would have put another block on law enforcement. I'm one of those people that thought defense was a total waste of money.
Obviously, you're going to pendulum swing and be really an instinctual reaction to put everything on defense at this point, because that's the big issue right now.
We can't just let the defense go and say, well, they're spending too much money on missiles, they're spending too much money on this. No, they're looking out after our country.
I would support putting more into the defense right now.
It's like playing with Legos.
If only rebuilding were that easy. If only we could turn back time. For many, the biggest change had nothing to do with what we had written on these cards.
Am I telling those that I love you?
And you realize that that people's lives are more important than anything.
Most of all, God holds us, and we do have to learn to come together and be together in unity.
All the tax dollars in the world can't buy that. Christine Dobbin, 10 TV, Eyewitness News.
Breaking news right now on Columbus's north side. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Kaler.
And I'm Andrea Cameron. Police are on the scene right now of a hit-skip accident where several children have been injured. It happened on Myrtle Avenue on the north end of our city. Kevin Landers just arrived at the scene. He joins us now on the phone as we look at live pictures from Chopper 10. Kevin, what can you tell us?
Well, we've got some serious news to talk about. We've got 2, possibly 3 children, according to police, with life-threatening injuries after a man driving a car that witnesses say was going about 100 miles an hour down Myrtle Avenue struck these children and an adult.
10 TV Eyewitness News reporter Roger McCoy is at Children's Hospital where the victims were taken. But we begin our team coverage with 10 TV Eyewitness News reporter Kevin Landers at the scene of that crash. Kevin?
Angela, people here are still in shock after what they saw. A car, they say, traveling between 80 and 100 miles an hour came barreling down Myrtle Avenue where it struck at least 7 people. We're told as many as 4 or 5 children were struck. Some of them were on the lawn near these homes when this car came down. After it struck the children, it then went on and hit a car. Now, some of the people, including an elderly woman, was struck, and we also have video you're seeing of a child taken away in a gurney. We're told that some of these children are in serious condition.
As trauma teams continue to work on those 5 children that were transported here shortly before 5 o'clock tonight, one of the relatives walking into the emergency room basically said it looked like the kids were paper dolls as they flew into the air as they were struck by this speeding vehicle.